guys, I'm Hillary Mulick, a wedding photographer based in the Carolinas, and welcome back to another episode on my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking about inquiry forms on your websites and questions that you should be including in your inquiry form or your contact form. It's the same thing that will help you get to know the couple better, help you know what kind of wedding they're planning, the direction that they're going in, so that when you email them back after they inquire with you, you're able to put in things in your email that are very specific to them and specific to things that are important to them. And by making that personal connection, they're going to be a lot more likely to have a consultation with you or to even go straight to booking, which is great. So let's get started. So in this video, I'm assuming you already have all of the normal questions in your contact form. Their names, phone numbers, where they're getting married at, their wedding day. Maybe you have a little section that says, tell me a little bit about you, and that's it. But here are some other questions that I recommend you adding because they are going to help you get to know the couple a little bit more and help you get to know the things that are important to them pertaining to their wedding photography. So like I said, when you reply to their inquiry, you're able to cater your reply to things specific to their response and be able to possibly book them because of that, because they were able to see the effort that you put in and they're not getting that generic email of, thank you so much for inquiring with me, here's all of my information. And then they think they're talking to a robot and maybe they don't want to respond to you. So anyways, let's jump into the additional questions you should be asking. So the first thing is, you probably have a space that says, where are you getting married? But think about maybe splitting this into two separate spaces, because oftentimes I have couples that have their ceremony in one location and they have their reception in another. So I have two sections for this. I have one for ceremony, and I have them put in their ceremony location name and address. And then I do the same with the venue and address, so that I know exactly where they're having their ceremony, exactly where they're having the reception. And if for some reason there's multiple venues that have that same name, which I shoot a lot of destination weddings, so oftentimes that happens, I'm able to know exactly where this venue is. And the reason I do this is because in the past, when I had just one little line that said, where are you getting married, they'd put Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And I think, great, but there's a bunch of venues in Winston-Salem. Which one are you getting married at? Or they'll put their church name, like we're getting married at this Catholic church, but then I think, well, they're probably not having their reception there, and then I have to ask them questions in my response email of, where is their reception going to be located? And I really just don't want to be asking those things that they can just provide me. I don't want to be asking those questions if they can just provide me with that information ahead of time. So that's how I justify having the two different lines. It's been great. It hasn't been an issue for any of my clients to fill out, and it's able to let me know exactly where they are having their ceremony, where they're having their reception, if they are in two different locations, and the addresses for those places. The next thing you should think about including in your inquiry form, and I think there's a little bit of controversy on this, is I ask them their budget. Now, I think a lot of people don't like to ask this question because they think that their clients will automatically put their budgets as lower than what they really are because they don't know what their photography budget is. And anyways, I know some photographers that just don't think that information is helpful. Now, what they put as their budget is not going to determine the pricing that I send them. My prices are set in stone and they are what they are, no matter what their budget is, but also gives me a little bit of an idea of where they are in terms of budget. And if I really am way out of their price range, maybe their budget is really low and I'm not going to be as sad if they don't reply to my inquiry because maybe I really was out of budget for them. Or if they fill out that and say that their budget is pretty high, then I can help guide them to a package that I think will be most helpful to them. Maybe it'll include an album, maybe it'll include rehearsal dinner coverage because they have the budget in order to cover that. So I personally like putting this line in just as a little bit of information for me to just kind of know how likely it is that they're going to end up moving forward with me based on what they say their budget is. The The next thing I ask in my inquiry form is, instead of saying, well, I still do have a section that says you can tell me a little bit about you, but I also have a section that says, tell me what drew you to my work specifically. I don't want clients that are just mass emailing a bunch of photographers just hoping someone is available. I don't really want to book clients that way. I want my clients to see my style and be drawn to my work for my work and my artistic eye, and then be interested in inquiring with me because of that. So I have a section in my inquiry form that says, what drew you to my work? Was there a specific gallery that you really loved that I shot? Was there specific images that really spoke to you? Just tell me what it is that initially drew you into my work. And I get a lot of variety of responses. Some people will say they were going through my website and this specific wedding that I shot at a yacht club in New Jersey really spoke to them. And I think, okay, that kind of gives me an idea on what type of wedding they're planning, since they were so drawn to this specific album. Or they'll say, you know, I was on your Instagram and I really loved all the candid moments. And then that says to me, okay, like they really appreciate the candid moments. And so when I'm getting that response from them, I'm able to cater what I'm going to reply back based on that information, because it tells me a little bit about what they actually like about my style and what is most important to them for their own wedding photography. Another thing I include in my contact form is I have a little drop-down menu that says, are you interested in doing a traditional eye reveal, a first look, or you're not sure yet, you would like me to tell you the pros and cons of both. And I love doing this. So especially being a photographer here in the Carolinas, you get a lot of traditional couples who want an aisle reveal, which is great. I'm actually not one of those photographers. You know, even though I think most photographers prefer first looks, I'm not going to push my clients in any sort of direction for that, because this is their wedding day. If they always dreamed of having a traditional eye reveal, then great. We will build a timeline that will cater to that and they'll still get amazing photos. But I like to know from the get-go when they inquire with me if they're set in stone, of they definitely want a first look, they definitely want a traditional eye reveal, or they're just not really sure yet and they're interested in exploring the different options. So in this case, if they're not sure which side that they want to do, if they want to do traditional eye reveal or first look, then in my response email to them, I can say, I saw that you weren't really sure which direction you wanted to go in as far as the first look or the eye reveal. And I have a blog post that I can send them to of a blog that I wrote not very long ago that talks about, these are the great things about a traditional eye reveal, these are the great things about a first look, and with this information, which one are you leaning more towards? It's also really helpful to have this information from them when I am building them a timeline. You can watch a previous video that I recorded for Instagram, or recorded here for YouTube, talking about how I structure my replies to inquiries. And one thing that I do is I ask them a question at the end. And the specific question that I like to ask is if they would like a customized timeline from me. And I love doing this because most couples will reply back to that, because I think, yes, I know nothing about timelines for wedding days. And so it's a chance for me to send them just a couple sample timelines, and I can cater that timeline to whether they want to do a first look or whether they want to do a traditional eye reveal, or I can send them both if they're not really sure. And that will maybe even sway them one way or the other after they see those timelines. All right, the next thing I ask in my inquiry form is I have a little checklist of, are there any additional things you are looking for in your photography package other than wedding coverage? And they can check engagement session, rehearsal dinner, bridal session, heirloom album. So this just also gives me an idea of the things that they are interested in, so I can help direct them into a package that will include those things. So the very last thing that I ask in my inquiry form is, I'm sure most of you have a part in your inquiry form that talks about how they found you, whether they found you on Instagram or Google, or if it was a client or a vendor referral. And if it was a referral, I want you to add an additional line on your form after that says, who can I thank for the referral, so that you know whether they were referred by the venue directly, which would be awesome, or they were referred by a past client of yours, which is also awesome. And then you can reach out to those people and thank them so much for the referrals, and they will probably even continue to refer people to you because you took that extra step to thank them. So make sure to include that in your inquiry form as well. So that was it. Those are all the things that I think are just extra, really helpful things that you can add into your inquiry form to help cater your response back to them, so that you have lots of information about them, what drew them to your work, how they're wanting to structure their wedding day, whether it's a eye reveal or a first look. It helps you to know what type of things that they want included in their package besides wedding coverage, and what types of things that are important to them, and then also who to thank for a referral if they were referred by a venue or a client. Hope this information was helpful to you, and I will see you again next week for another YouTube episode. Bye, guys.